Trina, you can mute here. Nice.
What is that sound?
Sound like a bomb about to go off. I thought it was just in my head.
Every time
Game.
every time somebody enter the room, you get like a doorbell.
You know,
Yes.
when you enter like a business space with the elevator.
It's a notification that somebody else.
So wait, no, this room never lock.
It's not festive.
Maybe I saw your laptop.
I feel like it's my head and I'm going crazy.
A cricket met nice a while ago.
Sound like an elevator for real.
Or it sound like every time somebody come in at the front door.
Yeah, so they go like the dentist or the
Yeah.
orthodontist or something.
Yes. I don't know if you guys payless have that, but every time you walk in, it's like, ding.
No man, people just walk in silently and pay this.
Nobody knows that. Somebody attack?
It's being recorded, Juna.
No, nobody at all. We're just silent.
Just silent and make him think so it's in my side.
It was stay quiet so him could feel like him crazy.
Same.
You mean, Mayan? You mean?
Well,
And why you harassing the dog?
Juna dog them hungry.
Hello, guys. Hold on. Oh,
Guys,
Hi. Okay. Welcome to the other side. All right. So here's what we'll do today. What we'll do today is rendering in Revit, which surprisingly doesn't take very long. And we will, I guess I can touch a little bit on animating in Revit. Because we would really need to have Twinmotion up and ready in order to do that next tutorial. I'm gathering everybody here has Revit, but not everybody has Twinmotion installed. Am I right?
I think some people have Twinmotion, some people have
Lumion.
Lumia.
Yeah.
I don't have Rivet. I don't have Rivet either.
How do
No
you
matter
not
what
have
you
Revit?
have.
So do
Sir,
you
we have
repeat?
MacBooks.
Yeah, sir, I use ArchiCAD. So
Oh, you use ArchiCAD. So I guess you would have to get Twinmotion then.
Sir, I have Twinmotion-ish.
Twinmotion is for Mac as well as PC.
Yeah,
Right?
I have it, but I have it-ish.
I have I have it, but I don't know. Do I need a eGPU for my laptop? I don't know. Because I haven't tried.
Okay,
Oh,
man.
you haven't tested it yet.
No, not to do anything, no.
Game.
Okay. All right. Well, here is what we can do. We will do the Revit one first. And let me see here. This computer that I am using, I don't have it on this one, but I do have a pretty decent internet connection. So I will download it while we speak, okay? But let's do the Revit first because Revit will be our fallback. I know most people have Revit and most people don't have a high-end computer, so you will perhaps have to use Revit in order to generate your images, right? All right, I'm gonna bring up this thing here. Okay, good. All righty. I'm gonna save this project. Come on. Do a share screen now. And we'll use Revit to generate some images, which is super easy. Now, I must admit to you, Revit is not necessarily the best program to render images, but it can do it. And we're going to be operating based off that fact. All right.
Sir, I don't know if you answered me already, but does it matter what year Revit we have?
No, it doesn't matter. I have a sample project here that I have from previous years, so I'm just going to use that to do my demo. Let me do a share screen now. There you go. Alrighty. All right, so we have a nice little project here. Which student did this one? I think it was Miss Allen. I can't remember which one. I think it was Onifi Allen. Oh, right, it was Miss Allen, right. That was perhaps graduated about 2 years ago or 1 year, somewhere in that region. So let's take a look on it. All right, this is what they have. Everybody can see that, all right?
Yes, sir.
Good, so that is what I expect pretty much everyone else to have, right? So I'm gonna do checkpoint 4 and 5. Show you how to do the animation in Revit and how to generate images. Okay, all right.
Animation in Revit, Mr. Williams.
Yeah,
do that?
Might as well because since we're using Revit.
All right, okay.
And I don't have the twin motion yet, so.
Oh, next week you'll do the animation in twin motion.
Yeah. If we don't get to it, so we'll do that next week.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Right. Okay. All right, so now let me start from saying that the term rendering has really revolutionized over the last 4 years. It has changed so much. It was just 3 years ago that we had created a render farm in CSA. And pretty much now, because of how technology is going, we don't really need a render farm that much because we have programs like Twinmotion and Lumion. Now, Lumion at the time was pretty okay, but rendering what we call post versus rendering real time, or what we call offline rendering, is when you click render and you wait a while for the rendering to happen. What time this class finishes again?
6.
All right, good. All right, we should be done long before that. Okay. All right, I'm just opening a file here. Give me a sec. 3DM, here we go. Folder and search environment. Search. It's coming while this thing loads.
Mr. Williams, there is an exploded view required for this checkpoint.
Yes, I remember.
Okay.
I'm just this thing was just taking a while to load. There we go, which was just open a while ago. There we go, which is the assignment. I was just bringing it up a while ago because we were just talking about it. Ah, finally, you have loaded. Right, so let's first look on the perspective rendering that we have here, right? Now, this particular rendering in the example was done in 3ds Max, but let's learn how to do that in Revit first. Now, in Revit, you should have the building and the site already lined up. You may have some materials added, but even if you don't have your materials added, it's fine. Now, zoom in. If you look, where did you go? Right. If you look right down here, you will notice that you have different visual styles that are represented in this location. Everybody see where I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now we have hidden line, and pretty much the first couple views are just different ways of seeing the model. Now the last one, which is ray trace, will give a rendered view of the model using what's called ray tracing, and that is using your processor to calculate where the rays of each coming from the light source will bounce from on each part of the building, right? Now, rendering, typically, I want you guys to just try this out. Just switch over to ray tracing for those of you who have it up. And of course, mine will look a little different from yours. Now I've just switched over to it and notice how I have my weight symbol up. If you look at my CPU performance, you will see that at 100%. Everybody seen that? And pretty much most of my memory is being used up. So this is the process called rendering, and this is called offline rendering. And what Rivet is doing what's called a continuous, rendering. It's not real time. Real time is what Twinmotion and Lumion gives you. Offline rendering is when you click the render button and your CPU calculates how light will act on the scene that you have. Now, a real-time rendering like Twinmotion will use its GPU. So let me just make this a little bit bigger so that you can see what is happening here. Oh, hold on. That might be green for you.
Because I'm like, wait a minute. I thought my computer was crashing.
No, I think it's because I'm rendering and the poor computer is having to render the screen capture and this at the same time. So I'm gonna hit stop now because
And how many cores you have, Mr. Williams?
I have 12 cores in this. Right, so I'm gonna hit stop now. And okay, you see it come back up now for you guys. All right, notice what is happening to all 12 of my processors. Are you seeing that?
Ah, those are the...
Right, those are they. And notice that they're slowing down to render. I mean, it's still doing something now because I'm actually broadcasting to you. And Zoom is actually using some amount of processing power. But notice as soon as I click stop here, it stopped calculating. So what is happening when you use this mode in Revit? Let me go back again to show you. That's down here and you switch to ray tracing. I'm going to turn it back on. Hopefully I will be able to show you before it gives out. So I'm going to
Yeah, I don't see that option on it.
Oh, when you go down here and you click on, you don't see the ray trace option?
No, the last one is realistic.
Oh, the last one for you is realistic. Anybody else is seeing that?
Mr. Williams, it looks like you're frozen. Something is frozen.
Oh, wow.
But Mr. Williams, you have 12 cores.
Mm-hmm.
What do the students on average have?
8, hopefully.
8. All right.
4 and 8, hopefully. Right.
The i7 is 8. No.
Right.
Yeah, the i7 is really the processor itself. No, it's not necessarily how much RAM you have.
Right. It's really just the processor.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Right. So I'm going to demonstrate that to you again so that you guys can see, because there are different ways that you can render in Revit. All right. And I wanted to bring up this so that you can see the impact that it is having on your computer. Now, I'm not going to go back to what these mean because all of us were in DDM class when we covered these things, right? And we all remember, right? Right. Sure we do. But anyway, so in Revit, when we change to ray trace, it is going to do rendering consistently and try to update based on how we change the viewport. So let me do that again. So I click ray trace, and then you're going to see the system, the processor pretty much spike up. Here it is increasing. All right, there it is, 100%, and you can see it rendering. Now, the idea for this is that, I'm going to just put this one side. When we rotate the view, I'm going to attempt to rotate my view now. Everybody seen that? You see it getting fuzzy while it's rotating, but as soon as you release it, it starts to clear up. All right, let me stop this now because I can't use Zoom at the same time. Okay, you guys hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so did you see that before I started to like freeze up?
I thought you
Yes, sir.
rotated.
Pixelated a little bit.
Right, and then you could see it clear up. So that is one way how Revit shows rendered images, and that is pretty heavy on your processor because once you turn on that mode, your processor is going to be trying to consistently render to keep up with you orbiting and rotating the view. Now, the way that I recommend that you do the rendered images is not by this way, actually. As a matter of fact, in Revit 2021, they have actually removed that method and replaced it with an awesome real-time method, which is very similar to Twinmotion and Lumion. You guys will absolutely love that. So if you can already run Twinmotion, then try out the new 2021 Revit. I haven't tried it out yet, by the way, but you know, when you see those YouTube videos, that gets you really excited, right? But it is out now. In the meantime, the way how I recommend you do this is you go to a top view. So I'm going to go to my site plan here, and I'm going to go over to view. And I'm going to use that as arrow thing so we can remember where I went to. So I'm going to go over to view, and then I'm going to go here to where it says 3D view. And then I'm going to choose camera, right? And I think Mr. Ramark was showing you this, perhaps. And what I want to do is take a nice view from this corner looking towards the building. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag. Now, it is important where you stop the camera. Anywhere you stop the camera, you won't be able to see anything beyond that point. So you want to drag your camera view all the way here so that you're seeing everything within this view. And you click once more, and it will generate a camera view. For those of you who have it up, you want to try that? You guys with me?
Yes, sir. But this is in your orthographic view, right? Not perspective.
This is in the, I went to my site plan view, or top view, whichever one, right? And then I went to view. I went to, oh, sorry, let me change it back. I went to view, and then I went to where it says 3D view, there's a drop down arrow. I went to camera. That's where I went.
Michael, to the bottom left, it's a perspective. So I think he's in perspective, not orthographic.
No, but hold on. I realized the way how Mr. Ramark showed you is changing your orthographic to perspective, but I'm showing you a different way. This is to generate the images for your checkpoint tree, right? So let me go again. This is the way I'm recommending now. So what you do is, let me clear that. I'm going to generate another view. So let's say you have your 3D view here, right? Everybody's know about the 3D orthographic view. Instead of changing this to a perspective view, what I want you to do is go to your floor plan or your level 1 or your site plan, whichever top-down view you want to take, and think about the direction that you want to view it from. So for example, if I think that the most attractive part of the building is this elevation here, right? Then I'm going to want to put a camera here and view in that general vicinity. Everybody with me so far? Right, guys?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Okay, good. So with that said, I'm going to go to view. I'm going to go down to 3D view, and I'm going to choose camera. And this is the way how Revit intends for you to select snapshots of your design, right? So you click camera, you click a position that you want to stand at. So I'm going to choose this position so it's relatively close. You click once and release. Now you're going to click a second position. Now you want to click a position that goes the furthest point that you want to view. So if you stop the camera here, you won't even be able to look on the building because the camera will clip at this point. So you want to go all the way down here and click once more, and it will just generate that view for you based on that camera. Everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. For those of you who have Revit up, you're able to achieve that real quickly.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll give you a couple seconds. Okay, now once we have this set, what we're going to do to render the image, we're not going to use that method before by changing this, right? You don't want to use this. It will totally just carry your computer to the extreme. The next thing we want to do is to set up our view properly, right? And I know that you've been doing some view editing a while ago. I saw you doing that with Ms. Ramarak. So maybe some of the things I will say here, you would have probably already done. So just so you know,
no, Mr. Williams, no, we haven't done much. So please speak.
All right. So in setting up your view, I actually like the way how Revit allows you to adjust your view, believe it or not. Even though there are programs like Twinmotion and Lumion, Revit have this kind of scientific approach to setting up your view that I really like. Lumion and Twinmotion have this more of an artistic kind of view. Revit's method is a bit stiff, but it is, I would almost call it a bit more accurate if you want to get a really specific view. All right, so this is what you do. Now, first thing, these bars, these edges that you adjust here is your crop for your view. So now that your view is set up, you want to adjust your view based on what you want to see. So now we start thinking about composition. This is the part where I ask you about the stuff that you've learned with Ms. West-Martin about rule of thirds. And this is the part where you tell me, sir, I have no idea what you're talking about, right? Am I right? Or is somebody going to surprise me?
Sir, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, well.
No, sir, you're right. Carry on.
Anyway, so I'll keep on reminding you of this basic rule of thirds is, you know, to have a nice composition. And this is why you see a camera divided into grids. If you think about a grid like that and like that, then you either want to put your subject on this side, in the middle, or on that side. Essentially, you want to kind of imagine that your screen was divided into three, and you want to kind of organize them in that way. So for example, the building is, let me clear this. The building that you see here now, it's kind of on the right side. Everybody seen that? And I'm showing more, you know, foliage and stuff on the left side, right? Now, if you were in Twinmotion and Lumion, they adjust more easily. So, you know, you can use like the ASW keys, like you're playing a game or something, and just adjust the view. But as I say, in Revit, it's a little bit more stiff and more rigid, but at the same time, it's very fixated. Like you won't accidentally move your view in Revit. Now, now that the building is on the right, I have this landscaped area on the left, and this is where you can put, like, I don't know, like maybe a boat or something interesting, and that will bring about a nice composition. So in the rule of thirds, the building is on the right side. It's in the right quadrant, right? I'm going to save this now because I don't want this to crash and I lose everything, right? So that's a good habit that you guys have probably learned by now, whether the easy way or the hard way. All right, good. All right, so once you have this set up, the next thing you want to do is to tweak your view slightly to get that perfect shot. So to do that, what I want you to do is I want you to go for your steering wheel. That's what they call it. You click on it, and then this wheel is going to open, right? Now, have you guys used this wheel before?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, good. So I don't really have to go in that much detail because you kind of understand how it works, right? So if I wanted to, you know, like I said, this view is a bit low, let's get it a little high. I would go to top down and just kind of adjust my view slightly. If I want to pan slightly to the left there, and maybe I want to adjust my frame of view. So I'd go to my little options. Let me go zoom in a bit in the lower right hand corner there, and I would go to increase or decrease focal length. And what that will do is let the view get a little bit more wormy or more or skewed, not so skewed. Now, I mean, if you want to dive into like visualization, then what you want to do is try not to make your view so skewed. You know, I know that Lumion and Twinmotion tend to do this a bit, but if you want your view to look more realistic, you want to be less skewed. Now, a 3D program would actually, let me see, a professional rendering package would give you like a value. So the human eye, in your eyeballs, when you view a perspective image, it's at a focal length of 30 to 35. Once something is not at 30 to 35, let me show you, give you an example of that. So for example, let me, where's zoom? Zoom in a little bit here. Good, let me pan down a little bit here. Now, how does this look to you? Does this look real? I'm not talking about the, you know, the shadows and that thing. I'm talking about the view. I mean, normally when you see a building out of your eyes, it doesn't look this skewed. Am I right? Not unless you're looking through a binoculars or some kind of telescope. Do we agree?
Yes, sir.
Right. And this is what lets a view look less believable, right? It can even throw off your scale. I don't know if anybody ever looked inside a building. I'm going to walk forward here. I mean, this is a little building, but just, let me just go up a little bit. Just because of how I've skewed the view, this looks like a huge building, right? Am I right? And we've seen countless students use this to kind of try and trick the lecturers to say, oh, but sir, look how big my building is. You know, it's not it, you know. Anybody ever try that trick?
No, sir, never.
Okay, good. So you didn't hear it from me. All right. But skewing your view, real estate persons use this to let a room look big. You know, they take a view and they say, oh, this living room is so huge. But then when you go there, you're like, really? So at the end of the day, the human eye doesn't view, it doesn't have such a skewed perspective. So this is why it doesn't look as real. Let me zoom back out here now. So if I wanted this shot to look a little bit more realistic, then I would go into the steering wheel options here and go to my focal length. And I don't, as I say, I don't have a value here to tell you, but like a view like this would look a bit more believable. All right. Now, here's the thing in Revit now. You see this outer box that you see here? This outer box here? It actually has a finite dimension. So for example, if you wanted to fit this on a sheet, you guys don't have to print though, but if you wanted to print, then this size would become necessary to know, right? Because you want to print it at a particular size. But as it is right now, we don't really have to worry about printing. So what we can do to gain back some more view is to just increase our crop a bit more. There we go. Like that. This is actually still a little bit too skewed. So I'm going to go back to the steering wheel. I'm going to go to my focal length and I'm going to decrease my focal length some more. Good. Then I'm going to zoom out. Let me pan up a little bit. And yeah, I think that's good. All right, so let me apply a little bit more over here. And I don't want to cut the top of these trees, so I'm going to increase that about there. All right, does anybody see the difference in those two shots that we just did? This one is less skewed, but I don't know if you realize that it's a bit more realistic, like it's something that you would see with your own two eyes. Anybody realize that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now, I think I've pretty much covered most of the tweaking. So all of the little tweaking you need to do, you do it inside the steering wheel. Now, once you get that done, you're going to want to render. And in order to render, you're going to go to your, oh, you can go to the render gallery. Did it open up? Or does it require the internet? Where did it go? Yes, it does require the internet.
Question, sir.
Okay, let's not worry about that.
Question, sir.
Close.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be easier if you actually have it in realistic than actually render.
Repeat?
I said if it wouldn't be easier if you have it in realistic than actually render.
Well, the thing is, once you choose realistic, it is gonna pulverize your processor. It's gonna have your processor 100%, anticipating that you're gonna be panning and zooming, and to get the perfect view. But I mean, if you have a decent enough processor, then you don't have to worry. But as you can see, just doing that to this laptop, which is a pretty decent laptop, but it totally just killed everything else that I was doing. Okay. So I don't really even recommend it. I don't even know why them include it. But, Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So what I want to do is go to the render button. And a dialog box should come up. Oh, here it is. All right. So this dialog box now basically has a render button here. You have the render quality. The render quality has to do with the quality of the shadows and that kind of stuff. And then you have your resolution, which is how sharp it is. Now, screen means that it is the resolution of whatever your screen is, whatever the Revit screen is. So right now, the screen resolution is based on, how it go? Is based on this value here. Whereas your print resolution, you set the resolution of this, right? Based on your DPI, which is a bit weird at times, but so for example, 300 DPI would give you, where you gone? Right. 300 DPI would give you, 5,000 by 2,000 something, which is pretty big. I'm going to put it at 170. No, I'm going to put it at 75 because this resolution is pretty big already. So quality is different from resolution. Now, if I'm doing an exterior shot, I want to keep this on interior. If I'm doing an interior shot, I'm going to put it on interior as well. If I'm doing an exterior night shot, then I would put it on exterior artificial only. An interior night shot, I would go interior artificial only. Those are important if you want your scene to look as realistic as possible. All right, sky goes without say, you know, few skies, few clouds, very cloudy, or you can choose your own image. I am a fan of transparent, you know, so that you can Photoshop your own image, but I guess I'll just choose very few clouds for now and leave it at that. Exposure and these things you use to control how bright the image is. So now let's hit render. So again, I'm going to put this right here so you can see the processor. I'm going to just put this like this so we can keep an eye on what's happening with the processor. Remember, my processor is already running, you know, Zoom and OBS Studio and all kind of stuff. So it's already being used. So always save before you render, because that's when your computer is most likely to crash. All right. All right, so now we can hit render and we wait. Look at that processor now. It's just going to fire up to 100% and hopefully it will finish rendering before it totally crashes my Zoom. But you can see it there calculating and calculating. And you probably see me moving in like super slow motion now, right?
So honestly, I didn't know if that was my internet or because of you.
No, man, it is definitely because I'm rendering. So this is rendering on high with a resolution at 75 dpi. Let's put it that way.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Won't it like your device, your laptop, you can overclock it, right?
No. And usually laptops, you don't really overclock. You overclock desktops.
Okay.
Yeah, once you overclocking, you want to have more values to tweak. But overclocking for rendering is not recommended. Overclocking for playing games, yeah. And the reason for that, if you notice, this is at a consistent 100%. There is not even a little downtime. And you know, when you're playing a game, things are fluctuating depending on if you run into a room with explosions versus you in just an empty room. You know, things kind of fluctuate, right? So overclocking for something that is full bore 100% consistently for 4 hours, not recommended.
Oh wow.
Exactly.
I didn't think that it would take that so long.
Well, I mean, this don't take that long, but I mean, when you're talking about professional rendering, you're talking about that kind of render time.
Okay, so.
All right, good. So this finished rendering now, and you can see it kind of winding down a little, hopefully. Hopefully.
So your screen's still stuck for me.
Oh, it's still stuck? Oh.
I don't know if anybody else see it. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
it is. I'm seeing a preview of it here. It is stuck.
It is still a bit stuck.
It's coming back. It's because of how I'm broadcasting. I'm using a broadcast software to get, you know, all this fancy dual screen stuff. So it does put more pressure on the computer, but it gives more flexibility. You know, so you know, pick your poison.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Can you tell us what's the size of the image itself, the actual
here it is
maximum size? No,
here
you're I said the 3 meg.
Oh, sorry, hold on. The screen will freeze. I just remember.
No, I said the file size. I said the file size, but to get
the
that
pixels.
right, to get a good resolution on an image, you know,
Right.
that 75 is quite low, eh?
Well, that's the trick. You can't really look on the 75. This is what you look on the pixels. I mean, here is how Revit works, right? In order to simplify a complicated explanation of resolution versus pixels versus DPI. One second. Yeah. So so guys, you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Right. So Ms. Ramark, you were asking as well, in order for Revit to simplify an explanation with file size and resolution, all you need to understand with Revit rendering is that if you're rendering for a screen, meaning you're going to present your stuff on a projector or on a phone or on a computer screen, then 75 DPI is fine. If you're going to be printing, then you want to go from anywhere from 150 to 300 DPI. If you're going to do any kind of high profile printing, for example, you're going to print something large format or put something in a magazine, then that's when you go to 600 DPI. That is how Revit simplifies the whole resolution thing. Everybody got that?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, the projection, suppose I have a 12-foot wall, 12 by 10 wall, and I project that image onto it.
It should look fine.
It's gonna look fine.
Right. And this, I mean,
okay,
it is really broad brushing, but you know, Revit, it's not Photoshop, so it's not going to go into all of those things for you. You know, it's just going to give you like some basic options and you just pick one. Which for the most part is usually good enough. So 75 for images, 150 and 300 for prints, and 600 for large formats, billboard, that kind of thing. Okay. And then the quality settings now, if you can look on the image, it's hard for you to see quality because we're kind of going through our recording software, but you know, it's a pretty decent quality. And lastly, you can, things that you would do in Photoshop. So for example, you can adjust exposure. Go to apply. There we go. So darker, brighter. And you can do this without re-rendering. You can reset it. Highlights, meaning where it highlights the wall. Shadows, you can make shadows darker. Right? You guys are with me? You can go to warmer colors.
Yes, sir. We're following.
Or cooler colors. For saturation, you can go to like black and white totally, or like, you know, really saturated. So let's reset. So these you can adjust on the fly. All right. And you can switch between showing the model and showing the rendering on the fly. All right, so this is how you render an image. And if you want to save this image, you would go to, you would look under renderings. Where's renderings? Usually there's a category called renderings. Walkthroughs.
It's in the same dialog box.
No, but usually there is a. I don't normally render in Revit a lot, but like when you have sheets, you have another one called renderings. I think you have to add it under view. But from show model, close this here. There we go now. Okay, so that is how we get the renderings out. I'll show you a bit how to save it. But before you go, I want to show you the, what time is it now? 4:20. I want to show you the animation aspect of it. Miss Ramrock, you think I should leave that for next class? You think everybody will just forget? And then we have to go do it over again?
Well, let me ask them. Ask the students.
Because I'm thinking maybe we should just stick to checkpoint.
Okay. It's okay if we forget, you know, we have the recording, we could go look over, because I'll be honest with you, I'm a person that I just need to watch these things like 3 times to get them.
Okay. All right. All right, cool. Let me pull this
Oh,
over.
sir, I have one question for this. Yeah, you heard me, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the problem I think the thing I'm thinking about is that, is it the material, based on the material, that justifies the rendering colors? If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yes, you do. Remember, when you're using Revit, when you use certain families, the families are already set up with materials. But in some cases, so for example, if well, let's go to a 3D view. We'll go to a 3D view here, right? And I choose shaded or realistic, one out of these. So realistic will show me what the materials look like. So this is the wood that is used here. And that is the wood. That wood could either come on this object as a result of the type of object you choose. So for example, if you choose a wall, then you might get by default a brick material. Okay. But if you want to change it, the quickest way that you would need to, you'd go to change that is you'd go to manage and you will go to materials here. And this is really the quick way to change materials, I believe. Yeah. It should pop up in just a bit. Here it is. And this is where you go to configure all of your materials. Let me widen this out. Right, so essentially what you do is, I think this is the fastest way you can change it, is you would go to, where's that shortcut? So you don't have to do it the long way. You go to modify, and here it is. Let me maximize that for you. There we go. You'd go to modify and you'd go to apply material to face of element. So let me zoom out. So let me choose carpet, and then I would go to here. Let me close that. I will just let me put it on this screen. There it is. So let me do that again. You would just go to apply material to face of element, and this is the short way to do it. So if I wanted to change this material to concrete, then I just click and it should change. Why are you not changing? Oh, it's because it's grouped, maybe. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter, but this is the shortest way for you to change materials. This is the quick and dirty way. If you want to, for example, if you wanted all window frames to have the material, then you would go into those edit type and change the material in edit type. And then all of them would change to one material. If you want to just apply a quick material, then you simply choose the material and then you hover over the object and pick it, even though I don't know why that one is not picking now.
Yeah, I understand that, sir, but what I was really asking is, it is based on the materials that we initially gave to the model. That is what, when you render it will give it. Because
Yes.
if you render and you'd like to change a different color, because I noticed that you have a probably yellow building right now. So I was saying that if you can actually change the rendering color of
The
the building.
rendering color, not the material color, what you mean the rendering color? That's what you're asking?
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, you'd have to change the material color. I mean, the only thing you can change for the whole rendering is it's drag it, silly me. The only thing you change from the material rendering is like brightness and those things. I have to figure out why it's not changing, because I use this all the time and it changes. It's probably is a setting that I am not.
I think the question, or what you were trying to get at, is, for example, you select you have concrete walls. You know, concrete comes out in gray. What if I want the wall to be painted in blue? Is there an option to do that?
Oh, wall paint. Oh, okay. If you wanted to do that, then you would have to go into, let's see here. You would go into manage and you would go into materials. And for example, you would look for concrete. Here is concrete here, which maybe stucco would be a better option, but you would choose this one. And first I would duplicate it and maybe call it concrete beige. Well, it's already beige already. So how about we rename it and treat concrete brown. Here we go. All right, so then now I would change the appearance. Where are you? Color to brown. And I think I would have to kind of, right, there it is. I would have to kind of mix it in a little bit, like halfway here. You can see that it's brown now. You seen that?
Yes, sir. Faded.
Good. Right. So, I mean, if you're not going to do it this way, then you'd have to actually find an image texture of brown concrete and put in here. But this is like, I would say, a shorter way. You can just kind of mix it between the color and the texture. And you apply, and then anything that you had this material on it will apply to it. So for example, if I wanted to change all of this, the material on this element here, this generic model, we'll go into my edit type, and edit type. I'm not seeing anything for it. And I noticed that.
Mr. Williams, remember, these are not components. They are modeled and created by the student. Yeah.
Right. But you should be able to still go into the edit type. It's just that, I mean, usually I don't change materials in Revit, and I guess for those of you who use like Lumion, you know, you would probably change your materials in Lumion. So I'm not 100% familiar with doing it this way all the time, you know, but I do it one and two times. I do it like this, where I would go into edit type and then change the material there, and then all of them would change. But I'm going to recommend that you do most of your rendering in, if you can, you do your rendering in a rendering program, not necessarily Revit.
Mr. Williams, can I ask the students? Students, how many of you do have Lumion? Can you raise your hand in the participant box? How many of you do have Lumion? Anybody? Raise your hand. Miss Morris, only you? Everybody else is using Revit to render?
Yeah, that's why I show in the Revit.
Twin motion.
Twin
Have
motion.
twin motion.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Twin motion. Twin motion.
All right, Maya, can you put down your hand, Maya, and let's see who has twin motion. Put up your hand, those who have twin motion. Maya, you have it as well?
No.
All right, let's see the twin motion people.
Thumbs up.
2. I only see 2 people, Ashley and Zane.
Oh, wow. Well,
that's a loud minority. What happened to the rest of you guys? What do you have?
Check the chat, check the chat.
The chat, Mr. Like 5, 6 away of it.
No, but the easiest thing for me to see is just go over to where your name is in the participant list and raise your hand.
Only one how to
raise the hand.
You can't raise your hand over
a
there?
little bit on a thumbs up.
I have a thumbs up. See,
You have a thumbs up. All right. Let me see. Let's see what we have. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Michael, you're 6. 6 people. Maya and Kane, 7. Twin motion. So tell me, students, what do the rest of you use? Session, you're 8. What do the rest of you really gonna have to render in Revit?
Yes, I think I'm just gonna download it.
What you gonna download? The twin motion?
Yeah.
All
so
right.
that's what we're saying for next class. We do twin motion, and I guess next class would be the next checkpoint as well.
Yes, but as Ms. Suklal said, if you do the twin motion here again, Mr. Williams, students, I'm asking you if you agree. Is it all right if he does the twin motion render here as well and then do it again next week?
No, but I need to get twin motion on this computer. I don't have it on
you
this
don't have it? Oh,
right.
Sorry.
I have it on a different computer.
Oh, so that is really next week then?
But the exploded part, and then I was also hoping Brown could show me how to expand the site.
Ah, yes, there is an exploded view that we could also deal with today, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, man. Okay, for exploded views. Okay. Well, firstly,
sorry. Let me just ask. Let me ask the Kalina who just asked a question. I didn't hear the question, Kalina. Could you say it again?
The second part was how to expand the site.
How to expand the site. You hear that one, Mr. Williams? You remember you used to do it in Max. You just stretch out the site. So how to expand the site and how to do the exploded view.
Okay. All right. Okay, for the exploded views, the concept of it is really simple, but there are just some things that you need to watch out for. So let's go over the concept. So in my 3D view, I would go to a front view. And I would that view there. There we go. Now, if I wanted to show, like, for example, this roof exploded upwards, then it would be a simple thing of clicking on the roof and moving it. But here is the trick. Apart from doing that, what I would suggest you do is prepare your model to be exploded. And I think that is the real work of when you're exploding a model. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to hide the site. So I could click on this one object here and I could go to move and just move it upwards like that. But then there is another and another and another, right? So the first thing I would want to do is to, for example, select all of these objects here and group them. Because all of this I would probably want to explode upward as a group. You following me?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So I'd go to group and I'd call this, I don't know, you could probably call it, wait a minute. Oh, it was a camera trick. I was wondering what happened to my columns. Okay, so I would probably call it, explode one. Why does it disappear? Why does it disappear then? It's weird. Let's ungroup it. Let's undo that. Let's go again. Let's select all of that. I wonder what.
Mr. Williams, is it your video card?
No, it probably has to do with how it was grouped originally, which I suspect has something to do with why some of the materials not added. So
okay, how it was made?
I think so, because this is already grouped. This is already, some of them is a group already. Yeah, see, this is already a group. So hopefully your model is in a better state than this model. But for example,
Yeah,
I would
trouble.
say again.
I said, I think the person what they did was they arrayed the rafters, and then after you array,
Good point.
it is,
Excellent.
it is
That is
weird.
right. So well, and then you don't really want to break the array, so I guess that's a choice. All right, call this roof. Explode. There we go. And this is basically what I would suggest when you're exploding, right? Especially when you're doing it for your studio and your studio projects and all of that. You want to group them first. So probably like all of your windows, you would you'd want to select like a bunch of them. Do that. And let's do it this way. All right. And what you can try to do is sometimes go to wireframe, even though it looks confusing, but you know, you realize it selects it much better, much more easily. Let's go back there. There we go. And then you can probably group that. All right, call this window explode right. So the thing is, the reason why I said to prepare your model is a lot of times you start moving. If you want to do a manual explode, you start moving these things, and it's when you reach a certain way, you realize that you need to move something else. And if you move like these rafters 1-1, you might lose the snapping points of them, and especially if you have like slants, you want to keep everything together, right? Which is nothing special, it's just common sense. There we go. So you would probably want to group all of these doors together. And you get the idea from here on. All right. Now, I'm just going to do a few of these so you follow me. Oh, I wonder if some of these are actually nested within, because this, I think they did this as a wall, did they? No, they didn't. Because you know that some windows, it would need to be inside a wall to work, while some don't have to be. So we could just hide some elements. There we go. There we go. You see, it's based on how it was created. Wow. And you know, funny enough, the last time I did a exploded model, I actually did it in, I actually imported it in another package and then exploded it from there. Yeah, question?
Not really a question, but Lorenzo was saying in the chat that is probably because it's connected to the work plane.
Well, yeah, but you can always change you can always change the levels of the objects by themselves. Here is what you do. If you use primarily generic objects, then you should be able to group those generic objects together and move it regardless of the work plane. Should. There are so many rules in Revit at times that sometimes we don't remember. As a matter of fact, I would try to, probably most of you are going to have to prepare the models before you even start exploding it. Even these railings were done as one railing. Ah, that is painful. So you see, it wouldn't be so easy to do that. Okay. All right, this is the other thing about exploding. Let me bring up the other example here. Because I just grabbed this model randomly and I am not really familiar with how it was built. But I want to show you something else. Here it is. You see, in exploding a model, it is not that you want to take out every window or door individually. For example, you realize this model here, it is just the entire roof that was off and the entire floor that is off as well. So I think this approach is much better. I think Revit will be a bit more complicated to try and, for example, take a door out of a wall, especially if it is hosted in the wall. Everybody understand what I mean by hosted? Guys?
Components, components, Mr. Williams, will be hosted.
Right.
But if they modeled it, all they would have done is to put it, they would have just put in a void into the wall.
Right. They could
and
do
then
that
put
one.
the window and make the window and put in there.
But
Yeah.
you see, I'm saying that to say when you're doing the exploded view, I don't think you should get carried away with trying to explode every single thing. Like, look at this example here. It's really the different levels that they're trying to show. Granted, this is a multi-level building. So your building, at most, I would say you would need to be able to remove the roof and then remove the foundation. So you would really end up with 3 different levels. But a lot of that depends on how you created the model. And I am not, so for example, this model here, I would have done the floor and the railings and be able to explode that. Oops. So here. So there, right. And let's go. Yeah. Right. I would go mainly with those 3 levels, but you see, because of how it is built, I would have to like figure it out. I would have to figure it out because even these are grouped differently, and because of how they were made, it's probably causing them to move differently as well.
Sir, can you explode it by model type? So like, you know, when you're doing the model in place, you go and you say, okay, you want this to be a wall, or you want this to be a door, you want it to be roof plate, a roof or a foundation. Can you?
Well, like families, Diane.
Yeah, the family type.
Yeah, families. Yeah. I was thinking that.
But yes, that would be the ideal way to model it. Only in rare circumstances, I would think it would actually affect how it moves. Because, for example, a generic model on a wall and a window, they have the same basic properties. They have a level and you know, that kind of stuff over here. So
Plan it for the project. Every component we were gonna model in place, we had to set that criteria first. If it was a door, if it was a generic
right.
model. So I thought that maybe that would be useful later on for when you want to explode. So if you can like select the whole category and be like, poof, explode. Is that possible?
The poof. I don't think the poof is possible. But guess what? In selecting the objects, it would make it really easier. So that the properties don't necessarily change, at least for the default properties, but being able to select all door handles by one click, select the same category or similar category, that would definitely help. You know, but I don't know. That is as far as I would figure that it would go, you know. For most of these issues that I am having here, I have a feeling that it's primarily just based off of the work planes and how they were modeled. So for example, this one here, yeah, no, it's perhaps, and that's the thing with Revit, you have to figure out, okay, why is this one not moving? Well, this says -3,000. Let me just change this to -3,000. It should be able to drag, but let's put one more 0 on that. Okay. Well, okay, fine, it works there. No, but I don't know why it wasn't able to drag. But anyway, so I would do the foundation, the floors, the walls, and the roof. And those are pretty much all that you would have to explode overall. Right? I think that is the best option to go. Unfortunately, even from this example here, you see, you won't be able to, you won't be able to get away with just dragging it one way. I was thinking that being able to group it would make life easier to move it around, but not in all circumstances, it would appear.
Yeah, I have a question. I tried to group my entire building to move it off and on the site, but when I did that, it took really, really long to group it. Is that supposed to happen?
Go again. You tried to group the entire building?
Yeah, everything, connections, everything, and to move it off and on the site. But
all right, if you want to do that, the best way to do that, let me just undo this to show you. Everything, well, you probably figure out already that by now, everything in Revit has its own set of properties and levels and parameters and hosts and all of these things. The most effective way I've found to do what you're asking to do is to actually put one file into another Revit file to be able to manipulate it. So for example, if let's go here now and all right, there we go.
You're speaking about linking it, sir? Linking Revit file.
Right, because look, notice that I was able to move this entire site easily along with all the levels and everything. And originally when I got this sample project, this student sample project, it was very difficult to do that. So right away, I just opened two versions of this file, one where I delete the building and the other where I delete the site. And then I link the site back into the building. And if you notice, you're seeing how you're seeing the site has its own levels. Are you seeing that? So all of these levels were associated with the site file, which is different from the levels associated with the building file. So rather than trying to select the building and move it in this scene, I would rather link it into another rivet, and then it would move, no problem. So me moving this side here is no problem. Like, you know, I could easily just move this around like that. But if it were, if this was originally in this scene, because of all the independent properties of all the, you know, all of these objects and components, it would be doing the same thing that this building is doing to me now. So, you know, my inclination to actually create a exploded model is really, if it's going to give me too much trouble to try and move, for example, all of these components here. Let me hide elements. Right. Suppose I'm trying to move all of these roof components here, and for the love of God, it just will not move. Probably because of, you know, the array and alignment, and maybe I even have some, maybe there are some constraints in there that I don't even remember or know about. I would just save a file, a Revit file, with just this middle part by itself, and another Revit file of just the base, and another Revit file of just the roof. And just link them together, and then it would just move like an object. No problem, and I don't have to worry about all these other drama that is preventing these things from moving around. But guess what, guys? The only reason I'm having this issue is because I wasn't the one that built the model, so I'm not aware of all of the things that came into place to create this. So before you go on separating these objects into different files and linking them, to me, that is the last straw. I would say if you know your models good enough, then you would know how you created this foundation, and then you'd understand why it's not moving, you know. You guys following me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like look at these louvers. I mean, these are all individual, like, oh, this is actually an array. But I mean, I would have grouped this together, or, you know, maybe I'd create a family. I don't know. It's just, you know, everybody models differently. So, so you splitting this up will really depend on how it was modeled. And if for any reason it's just causing you to pull out your hair, then you can just revert to what I suggested, which is you would just have a file that just has this alone. Meaning you would select everything else and delete from this file and only leave the base. You save that as base or whatever. You do the same for the walls. You select, you know, you delete everything else except the walls, and then you delete everything except the floors. And then you put them, you link them together, and now they become easy to move around.
You see that the word delete is a strong word you're using in there.
No, man, but think about it.
I think you mean hiding.
Saving it as a new file. So you don't have to worry.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask them if you isolate it and then save that. Would it save as the entire model, or would it save as what's
it would that's a good question. It would probably be isolated when you're linking the model, but it would still be too heavy. Like you would double up on everything else, and the file will just become too heavy.
Mr. Williams, would you suggest that to do the explode image, they copy the file and do that?
As I said, that is the last resort, because they shouldn't have a problem dragging the roof higher and low if they know about their model, or if they did it in a way that promotes that ease of movement. You know, like if this door was already grouped, you know what I mean, and not have individual louvers, you know. You know, like this window is already built this way, so it's easy to move around. But hold on, but we're not trying to explode windows and doors, you know. Remember, all is required for this assignment is just the foundation and the roof, to be separated, just like the handout. Just like the handout here. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't show the site.
Sir, and when you separate them, how do you get to put in the dotted line that connects it? Do you have to just use a reference line for that?
No, I would use a model line and just edit the type. So let me see if I can do it for you quickly, like how it's here. Because, you know, this is the way I normally do it. So, well, firstly, I'm gonna just hide this category because I don't want to see any of that. And I don't want to select everything there. It's a pity Rivet don't have select inverse, but I will survive. So the first thing I'll do, I'm just going to do this quickly and show you guys because I want to show you. Even though, you know, as I said, this way is more of the last resort method. There we go. All right. Delete the site. Let's hide the category here. Let us delete. I know that you're afraid to delete, but you know, it's okay. Be brave. There we go. There we go. And I will just save this. And I will save it here as Exploded Foundation. Right? Here we go. And that should take care of that. Good. Then let's do the roof. No, so I'm gonna select up to that point and hold Control and select up to that point. And let's put in this window element here. And let's just grab this part here as well. Good. All right. So what I would do is hide those elements. And I would delete that. Good. And there we go. Here we just unhide elements. Good. And then I would call this roof. So from Exploded Roof. All right, great. Then of course I don't need to do the walls because the walls are already there. Follow me? So now what I would do is I would hide there and I would hide these. Category. I mean, if you want to delete, you could, but okay. You know, I could hide the roof. Hide that as well. And I could hide the floors. Get in there and hide that. We don't want to select that, so we want to, there we go. And let's hide this as well. All right. Everybody following me so far? Guys?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right, so I would go to link, Rivet file. And of course, the beauty of this is that they're in the same position. So Exploded Foundation should just pop right in there. There we go. And then link Exploded Roof. And it should just pop right in the what? Oh, this file is called Exploded Roof. My bad, because I did a save as. So I would need to change the name of this file. what to call it? Exploded model. There we go. Because naturally you can link one file into another. And I would just go to link. The roof. Great. Now let's go to our front view and let's just move that up. Look at that. Isn't that simple? Simple life. Guys? Hello? You guys there?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Isn't that the same? No, but you understand the concept, right? We just like save them as individual pieces.
Yes, sir. Understand.
Right. So, you know, this would definitely work. And you were asking about the individual parts. So I would go with the model view. Well, first, I would go and change my my work plane to there. And then I would go to model line and probably just draw one of these lines like that. And well, I don't need to draw all of them, but you get the idea, right? You would use a model line and I would change the line type to maybe hidden. All right, guys. So can you confidently go ahead and do your exploded view and your rendered images now?
Confident isn't the word, but
I
yes, sir.
do this exploded one, but I'm not too sure about that rendered one.
Oh, I thought that was the easiest thing we did today.
Oh, so when your computer froze, like my Zoom pushed me out, and then I lose like 2 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours.
Oh,
So I might have to watch back this recording.
okay. Well, no problem. No problem. But just remember, you go to view, you go to render, and you click render. That's literally it. All right. So is there anything else?
Any other questions, Mr. Williams?
Are you here for playtime with Clee?
Michael.
Sorry about that.
Students, Mr. Williams will make this video available, but do you have any questions that you'd like to ask him about what he has done?
Not really, miss.
Just to be, I know you said it's just the foundations and the wall and the roof you excluded, and that's all done vertically. We don't have to explode anything horizontally also, sir?
No, man. And even in our my main objective is just to show you guys how to do it. Remember, your ultimate application to it is when you do your studio work and you need to show up exploded view, you know, and you model your building in Revit. You will know an approach of how to do that. I don't need you to explode every little single thing, definitely. And the example that we gave is only horizontal slices we really did. And the main objective was to be able to see, you can kind of see where everything aligns and you can kind of make out a floor plan. That's the main objective of this exercise. By the way, I didn't show you guys how to save the rendered image. So for example, I just click render on this exploded view a while ago. Save the project. That's how you save it in the project, and export. That is how you save it as a file, okay? So if you go save the project, it will ask you to name it. So I could call this exploded view. And then notice renderings appear over here, and these are all of your views here. You can just double click it and it will open in its own window. All right. If you want, you could have chosen to export and it would have just saved it as an individual JPEG. There we go. And then that picture would become available as a picture. Everybody saw that?
Yes, sir.
All right, great.
Okay, well, students, if you have no other questions, we'd like to release Mr. Williams and thank him very much for his time today.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
No
Hey,
problem.
next week is both Twinmotion and Lumina. However you pronounce it, are you going to demonstrate?
Well, I'm going to try and install both of them. Hopefully I'll have enough space because I know Lumion is quite big. And I know Twinmotion is quite big too, but it seems like we have half and half. Some people with Twinmotion and some people with Lumion. So
Not even
yes.
half and half, you know, Mr. Williams, not even half and half. The majority of the class that do have a renderer outside of Revit seem to have Twinmotion. Am I right, students?
So can I ask everybody to just get Twinmotion rather than having to install both? Because Twinmotion is free and they're pretty much the same things. And if your computer could have handled Lumion, then it can handle Twinmotion.
Students, what about that?
I'll try, miss, and I'll ask other people in the class who have Lumion. One second.
You mean who have Twinmotion?
As in the people who have Lumion, or ask them if they would just get Twinmotion instead.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not many people, it appears, that have Lumion, Maya.
I know, miss, but I know some others, they're just not at class right now. So
right.
Okay.
What happened is that Lumion is not free. They don't have a student version, right?
She cracked it, sir.
Twinmotion, right? But Twinmotion is free. You can just download it, and as it is now, there is just one little feature that Lumion has that I don't see Twinmotion have, and it's an advanced feature, so it's not something that I suspect you guys will ever use for now. But other than that, after using both, I think Twinmotion has an edge on Lumion, apart from that one feature, which is exporting animation, you know. But you know, Twinmotion has a slight edge on Lumion. But you know, these programs are, you know, next time around, Lumion will have the edge, and then Twinmotion will grab the baton, and they will just wrestle each other as time go by.
Mr. Williams, can you tell us the size of the Twinmotion program?
Okay, so when you go to, you can just type Twinmotion in Google, it will come up. Twinmotion is made by Unreal Engine. I'm finding out the size for you because I'm also going to be downloading it today as well. So I'm going to download it under this user, right? It is about to come up, so you just need to sign in. For right now, it is free. It is free. Is it not free anymore? Uh-oh.
Don't tell me.
Twinmotion for education and students, for students.
Okay. Have a student version.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. So here we go, right, with the student version. I think the only thing with the student version is that you can't publish paid projects with it. It would give you a watermark, basically. Let's see if we see the size. Oh, see, it asks you to install a launcher. Oh boy.
So it's 15 gigabyte.
15. So I was right. Yep. That was my guess earlier, that it was about 15.
Oh boy, Mr. Williams, I remember the days when AutoCAD first was 1 gigabyte. I remember it. It was frightening. So
Revit is like 30 odd gigs, right? That is so crazy.
Twinmotion is nothing.
Twinmotion is nothing. So when somebody say I must install Lumion and Twinmotion, I go, boy, that's like 60 gigs.
As against 15.
Yeah, I think Lumion could even be bigger. Oh boy.
So students, this is where you need a good SSD. You need to buy
a large one.
Than DDM. Yeah.
Right.
Sir, is it okay like to share it on like an external, like save it on an external hardware? Or like
remember, saving and installing is two different things.
Two different things, Mr. Nelson.
Yes, sir.
You can install it on an external. Of course, every time you run it, you're gonna need
to put it. Yeah.
And it's as my friend was saying earlier, because of how Twinmotion work, you're going to want to install it preferably on your C drive, because it needs the fastest communication with your processor and your video card. You're going to bottleneck it through your USB cable if you put it as an external.
Yeah. It's what you say it is. It's real time.
Right. And I mean, Twinmotion is even cheaper than SketchUp. I mean, $370. I mean, I know that might sound like a lot of money, but I mean, Lumion is like about $900 or something like that. No, or more. How much is Lumion again?
Real money.
How much is Lumion again? Lumion is a whole lot of money, man. Let me tell you how much Lumion is. Lumion is, here we go. Let's go to buy.
3,500 US.
3,500 US compared to $370. That's crazy, right? So this is why Twinmotion is getting.
Yeah.
And because it's Unreal Engine, and Unreal is kind of like, Unreal is going to become like Android. You remember Apple was out first and everything was an app for this and an app for that, and then Android came out and Android is the master now and Apple is just another thing. I mean, they're still good, but they're just the other thing.
Mr. Williams, don't start those battles, man.
I'm not saying it's, no, I'm only talking about apps. I'm not talking about the phones and I'm just, in terms of applications, Apple came out with its very expensive app prices, and then Android came out and most Android apps are like $1 and $2. And now it's, they're just the popular app. So, they're kind of by eating Lumion food now, you're charging 3,500 versus 250, 370. But anyway. So yes, guys. So try and get Twinmotion, please, okay? And we'll talk next time.
Okay, students. Next week.
All
right. Be prepared for the animation lecture.
And the Twinmotion. All right.
Yeah.
Mayan, remember you wanted to ask me something.
Oh,
oh, that's with me. That's me you wanted to ask, Mayan. So let's release Mr. Or is it something Mr. Williams could help you with? Mayan?
No, also like I was making like a stairs like in Revit, like a special stairs where you sketch stairs rather than use the official one. But it was kind of really confusing. I don't know. I was watching some videos and I still don't understand. It was just something small.
Mr. Williams, I have a
So
feeling
what
that you
is-
have more expertise in that than I do. So could you
Oh, so-
assist Mr. Nelson? Mr. Nelson, could you share your problem with us? Would you mind?
or what you can do is share your screen.
Well, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Mayan, by chance, is it a use tech
What is it?
case?
It's more like a step. I was thinking if that not working, if I could just model him.
Yeah, you could model. When you say it's just a step, you mean it's just like 3 steps?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's like 3 steps or so. It's not like a whole stairway.
Oh.
I was wondering if I could like just like create a what you call it again, a solid instead of doing the stairs thing, because it was very confusing doing the stairs thing.
Oh, you mean just modeling it as individual pieces, Mayan?
Yeah, because there was a edit step option, edit stairs option where I could like draw on the stairs.
Oh,
but it's kind of hard to use.
Yes, if you're just doing 3 steps, just model it as individual pieces, create the stringer, and then put the little steps, the threads in between. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, something like that. Like a little,
man.
yeah.
Well, put it this way: it's up to your investment. You could just model it in, but remember, if you model something as a step, you can swap it on the fly. You can do certain things on the fly. You can attach railings. You can attach stringers. So if you're not worrying about none of those things, then you can take the shortcut. But you know what I'm saying about shortcut, so.
Mr. Williams, hold on. What do you mean? When you say modeling it on the fly, do you mean using the component step?
Model in place. That's what he was referring to. If he could just
I could probably use model in place and then
instead of
make
component the steer component tool. So I was saying that if you just be mindful, if you're using the steer tool, you can easily click on a steer and change it from like monolithic to open thread to you can attach railings to it, stringers to it. There are certain parameters that come with a steer. If you know you're going to swap those around, then just go through the trouble. But once you got model in place, it's just like dry models. You can't do those special steer related parameters with them.
And students, you're expected to model in place. You hear, Mayan?
Okay,
right.
that was great help. That was actually really helpful.
Right. You're expected
modeling.
to.
Yeah.
Don't use the steer tool and the window tool and all of those tools. You're
Right.
expected to model it in place, okay?
Okay, miss.
Okay.
Okay, anything else, students? We can let go, Mr. Williams. It appears so. It appears so. Mr. Williams, thanks again. Much thanks.
No
and we look
problem.
forward to seeing you next week. Okay?
All right. Cool.
All right, students, have a good evening. If there's
Thank you.
anything else you need from me, you can ask. In the
Right.
chat.
Grammar,
Yes.
I was wondering if I could speak to you a bit after class.
All right. So if everybody goes home and leaves me with Kellyanne, that would be good.
No, I need to.
Oh, no, it's your meeting, Mr. Williams. Sorry. Kellyanne,
Right.
let me send you a link. Or
And by the way, guys,
go to the class link. You hear, Kellyanne?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Williams. Go ahead.
to access the recording, you need to go to the forum page on the website. All right.
I'm sorry.
On the website, go to the forums tab.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I have a question about my laptop, but not class related. Can I just send you an email or something?
Yeah, the WhatsApp is better.
I don't. Okay, sir. I'll get your WhatsApp from somebody. I don't have it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Because I get a lot of it's more instant than the email in case I'm not by my computer and I can respond quickly with a picture or something or a voice note. All right.
Sir,
Yeah.
I have a question too. Have you ever used Rhino before?
Oh, I really want to.
Oh.
I really want to, but no, I have not. I have not. I have Rhino on my list.
It's very simple, you know. It runs like AutoCAD.
Yes, they had reached out to me on Instagram, and they gave me like a tutorial of the program, but like I feel like I need like an in-depth one-on-one kind of thing.
You've done modeling in AutoCAD? You do 3D modeling in AutoCAD?
No.
Ooh. Ooh. All right. So, right now
You can find tutorials on YouTube.
Yeah, man, you're going to find them.
It's very popular, man. It's very popular.
Yeah, it's easy. It's simple.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, try it out. Try it out.
All right.
All righty. Bye. Stay safe.